If law administrative law questions part 3. Explain concept of corporation. Discuss its characteristics and classifications. A business organization having a separate legal entity that's an identity distinctive of its own organization and its owner is called corporation in India. A corporation can be sued. A corporation can sue or could be sued in its own name. It refers to an association of people incorporated to undertake the business activities having a separate legal entity. These organizations generally have a limited liability. Characteristics of concept of corporations: separate legal existence, continuous life, transferability, limited liability, taxation, governance and management. And classification of corporation are non-profit corporations, municipal corporations, professional corporations, and business corporations. Administrative law paper 2. Define question 1. Define administrative law. Administrative law encompasses the body of law, procedures, and legal institutions affecting government agencies as they implement legislations and administer public programs. Administrative law implicates importance political social values including democracy and fairness. What is irrelevant consideration? Irrelevant consideration are extraneous factors that are not relevant to the purpose of statutes or policy that gives its discretion to a public authority. When a public authority exercises its discretion based on the irrelevant considerations, it may be deemed to having acted illegally. Define corporation. A corporation is an administrative law is a business entity that has a separate legal identity from its owner. It has the power to make regulations of its own. Define an ombudsman. An ombudsman is an independent official or body that investigates and reports on complaints against the public officials or against the government. What is bias? A bias in administrative law is a decision maker who has a predisposition towards a particular outcome or views that can compromise their impartiality. What is meant by a speaking order? A speaking order is a decision or order that explains the reasons for the decision. It's a principle of natural justice in India and is necessary to have ensured that the decision making process is transparent in India. Write short notes. Droit administratif. Droit administratif comprises of a specialized body of rule that defines a specialized body of rule that defines the organization, power and authorities of the public administration while regulating the interaction between the administration and country's citizens. Droit administratif is chiefly constructed through the ruling of the court. The distinctive feature underscores its role in adapting legal standards to the complexities of governmental functioning. Droit administratif refers to the body of law governing the administrative actions of government. This branch of law overcomes and covers various aspects management of public property and the organization of the public institutions. Rule of law. Supremacy of law. Rule of law, according to the Dicey, means the absolute supremacy or predominance of regular law opposed to the influence of arbitrary power or wide discretionary power. Equality before law. While explaining the aspect of doctrine, Dicey states that there must be equality before the law or equal subjection of all classes to the ordinary law of the land. He stated that at any encroachment on the jurisdiction of the court and any restriction on the subjects impeded access to them are bound to jeopardize their rights. Judge-made constitution. In England, those rights are the results of judicial decisions in concrete cases that have arisen between the parties. Situational based questions. Question 3. Whether freedom of speech and expression can be restricted. State the reasons. Yes, freedom of speech and expression can be restricted under Article 293, 294, and 295 of IPC. It is because under Section 293, 292, and 294 of the IPC, the restrictions of speech and expression are mentioned. Also, speech considered to be vulgar, obscene, and offensive may be subjected to limitations to uphold such societal standards. These are restrictions that are put on freedom of speech and expression. On what grounds such powers can be exercised? The grounds are that to restrict the rights of freedom of speech and expression are stated below: security, sovereignty or integrity of the country, public order, decency and morality, hate speech, defamation, friendly relations with foreign nations, and contempt of court. While the law of limitation is applicable to Article 226, explain if those limitations, if any. It needs to be noted that the limitation may not be applicable to the proceedings under Article 226 of the Constitution. The Limitation Act is a statute based on the public policy which reflects legislatures with intent to ensure that no list is brought to the court of law for adjudication beyond which has been prescribed by legislature. Thus, the law of limitation is not applicable under the Article 226 of the Indian Constitution. Can courts refuse to entertain such provisions and such petitions? Explain. Yes, a court can refuse to hear a case under Article 226 of the Constitution of India if an effective alternative remedy is available. It's because alternative remedies, the High Court will not normally exercise its jurisdiction if an effective alternate remedy is available. Extraordinary circumstances, Article 226 requires to be exercised only in extraordinary circumstances. In these cases, the court can refuse to entertain such a petition. Different reasons for growth of administrative law. Question 4, long answer. 1. The changing role of state. One of the primary reasons for the growth of administrative law is the changing role of the state. In the party of the state role was limited to maintaining law and order and providing social welfare. Inadequacies of the judicial system. Another reason for the growth of administrative law is the inadequacy of judicial system. It's slow, inept, complex and formalistic. It was overburdened and could not provide speedy disposal of even important matters. In addition, important problems could not be solved by merely interpreting the provisions of some statutes. Inadequacy of the legislative process. The legislative process also is inadequate. It had no time and techniques to deal with the details. Therefore, it was necessary to delegate some powers to the administrative authorities. Scope for experiments in administrative process. One of the advantages of administrative law is that it provides scope for experiments in the administrative law process. Instead, a rule can be made for some time, and if it is defective, it can be altered or modified within a short period of time. Thank you and good night.